The Iway Bridge has gotten a lot of media attention the past several weeks as the Department of Transportation acknowledges a design flaw in the guardrails lining the span of the bridge. Well, this week, the Hummel Report is the only media outlet to sit down for an extended on-camera interview with the head man at D.O.T. And he has some candid words about accountability. It is the signature piece of a $600 million relocation of Route 195, and it's now 8 years old. But for more than a year, 4 sets of Jersey barriers have greeted motorists traveling each way on the Iway Bridge. That's because the guardrails put in after the bridge was floated into place in 2006 were installed improperly.
It's safe to operate now. It doesn't affect traffic. But we didn't get what we paid for. We didn't get the connection of the rail to the deck of the bridge as was required by the contract.
Last month we sat down with D.O.T. Director Michael Lewis, who said a routine inspection in the spring of 2013 turned up a damaged rail and the surrounding concrete on the right side of the eastbound span.
Clearly a vehicle had hit the rail, and we had no indication of an accident, but it must have deflected the car back into the traffic, and they moved on. But it did do damage to the base of the rail. So that was unusual because the energy from the crash into the rail should be absorbed by the concrete.
Additional testing turned up rail deficiencies along other parts of the bridge. So the DOT, as a precaution, had the contractor, Carty Corporation of Warwick, install the Jersey barriers, then hired an engineering firm to find out what the problem is. In our interview, Lewis, who became the DOT director 2 years after the bridge was installed, gave us a tutorial on rail installation.
It's a steel rail, and it's anchored to the concrete deck through bolts. So the bolts are actually cast into the concrete at the time the deck is built. Each post has 4 bolts. They stick up through the concrete, so when you come on afterwards, you put the rail down over those bolts and bolt them down.
Lewis said the rail itself is not the issue.
The bridge rail that was picked for this project was approved rail going back to the 1990s. No problem with the design, with the rail that was picked for the bridge. It was how it was installed where the problem is.
Does that go back to the contractor then?
It does. I mean, ultimately it does. Based on a preliminary assessment, one thing is sure, it wasn't built according to plan. I don't think anybody can debate that. So this contractor has responsibility. Now the next question is...
And financial responsibility also?
Yeah, under the contract.
No question about that.
Not in our mind, and I think if you were to ask the Cardys, they would agree. I think if you were to ask the Cardys, they are equally appalled that this could have happened. This was a in the field decision or lack of decision that was made.
So we contacted Carty, which has been operating in Rhode Island for 4 generations. Stephen Carty II told us that the company has been waiting for the DOT to conclude its study and forward it to the company so they can do their own analysis. Quote, "We have to confirm all of this. When you start throwing responsibility around, you have to be cautious. We do quality work and are responsible corporate citizens. If there's something that needs to be fixed, we will fix it. We don't run away from a problem, but we need information from the DOT to confirm it." This
happens not infrequently in construction, in heavy civil construction. Where you get a conflict in the field that's different than what is on the design drawings. Under the contract terms, it could be considered a differing site condition.
Don't you have inspectors, though, that are periodically inspecting? Yeah. And is that part of the review?
That's part of the review.
And see, okay, at this point in time we were cool, at this point in time, whatever, that's part of it?
That's part of the review. What did the department not do that should have done at the time? And that's important because that's a lesson learned going forward. But ultimately, again, it's the contractor responsibility, and that's built right into the contract. In my mind, this should have been picked up by the inspection. And for some reason, it either was, and it was let go, or it wasn't, and both of those are a problem.
Lewis says the problem, which will involve some type of retrofit, will not be fixed until well into next year, but reiterated the bridge is safe with the Jersey barriers in place. And it's unclear right now how much the solution will cost.
The question everybody asks is, are taxpayers on the hook?
We don't think so. And right now, no. I could have said, you know what, let's go and do this repair and we'll pay for it and then we'll fight about it later. I don't want to do that. There's no reason to do that. I want to have the facts before us. I want to sit down with the parties and say, you know, per the contract, we need to take corrective action on this. What's your response?
And Lewis said he has been trying to change the way the department approaches big projects like the 195 relocation.
There may have been an attitude in the past, and this goes back decades, of letting engineers in the field make decisions. And we've heard this from the contracting community, not the Cardis, but the whole contracting community is like, you know, don't let issues get hung up in this building. You know, let the engineers in the field make the decision. The problem with that is the engineers in the field may not have the qualifications or the expertise or the experience to make those decisions.
In Providence, Jim Hummel for the Hummel Report.